tonight. Amen. Let's enjoy some Pentecostal worship tonight. Can we do that? On the bus ministry tonight. Man, let's sing Sin the Lie. That's been on my mind all day. There's a call country nor the restless way. Sin the lie, sin the lie. There are souls to rescue, there are souls to save. Sin the lie, sin the lie. Gospel.
makes it all worth it, don't it? Makes it all worthwhile. Praise the Lord. Amen. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for being here. And this is fall revival for Bethel Chapel, but it's also our time of celebration of 100 years. And we're just honored to have visitors with us and guests come in to be here. Amen. And just great. I look forward to hearing from Brother Dennis Heath tonight and Brother Tim Brim tomorrow night and Brother Dwayne Gallagher on the weekend. So we're looking forward to that Saturday morning. And just believe that the Lord's going to meet with us in all these services. And trust that God just comes by and helps us. And I know there's people that'll be coming in. Maybe some are even backslidden away from the Lord and have maybe distant connection to Bethel Chapel. But I'd like to see the Lord get a hold of some. It'd be awesome to see some backsliders come back to the Lord and give their life to Jesus. Amen. Praise God. If you're out and about, man, why don't you stop in and invite some people? All right. Amen. Just invite them out. Let them know what we're doing. Celebrating 100 years. And let me tell you, 100 years is not, that's no small achievement in my mind. And it's just amazing what God has done in 100 years. And so when you look, there's out in the foyer to my right there's a little table there. It's just kind of a little time capsule of what was going on in 1918. And then if you look over into the hallway there, we've got some of the old books laid out from early on in the 20s and the 30s. And you could see, back then a $5 offering was quite an offering. Yeah. Yeah. And sending weeks of offerings for the whole church was $20-something, And I mean, that tells you how far we've come, right? Amen. But in 100 years, a lot of things change. But as we were telling last night, I'm thankful that we still have the power of God and still have the power of the Holy Ghost. Amen. There's some things we have not allowed to change, right? Amen. So we're thankful for you being here tonight. It's great to have Brother Armstrong with us, pastor over in Winfield. I want to make sure I got that right. Winfield, and appreciate him. And it's kind of interesting that he's here on bus ministry night, and we're going to honor our bus ministry because I know Brother Armstrong's been bringing kids in on a van ministry there at their church, and pray that God would give them great success there in that ministry. The Lord would just use that ministry in a very special way. Amen. And just great to see that. Brother, stand and testify, Brother Armstrong. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate your fellowship tonight.
Praise the Lord. It's good to be in the house of the Lord. Thankful that we will be here tonight. And say congratulations to the church here. 100 years, that's awesome. There's a lot of churches that don't make it that long. But when you stand for what's right, Pentecostal, and you're really Pentecostal.
Yes.
That's right.
Amen.
It's great bus ministry, honoring that ministry. And everywhere I've been involved in the bus ministry. I drive the van on Sunday mornings, take them home after service, and there's no greater joy than picking up those kids and seeing them. And I remember the song you wrote, Sister Brim, what took you so long? There's been many times where kids have got on and said something similar to that to us. Why didn't you come this week, or whatever the case is. And, just it's worth it. Right. Just that song, and just one more walk down the aisle. And even if we didn't see another one walk down the aisle, it's still been worth it.
That's still been worth it. That's right.
Only heaven knows what's been accomplished.
Hallelujah.
All churches.
Amen. Amen. Praise God. Praise God. A lot of times we hear people talk about the success of bus ministry. And well, how many people have you really added to your church? And how many have you seen as a success? And really, you can't really look at it that way. I mean, that'd be a very discouraging way to look at it. But what you look at is look at the ones that would have went to hell if we had not had bus ministry. And no matter, if it was just one that you saved, it doesn't make it worth it all, right? It doesn't make it worthwhile. And so bus ministry is important. It has been important to Bethel Chapel. Very important about the chapel. On January the 22nd, 1925, there was a message that was sent, a telegram that was sent. And it said this: an epidemic of diphtheria is almost inevitable here. I am in urgent need of 1 million units of diphtheria antitoxin. Mail is the only form of transportation. I have made application to Commissioner of Health of the territories for antitoxin already. There are about 3,000 white natives in the district. That came from a doctor by the name of Welch, who was in Nome, Alaska in 1925, when they discovered that they was having a diphtheria outbreak. The last ship had already sailed from Alaska, and now there was no ships that could get back into Alaska to bring that diphtheria antitoxin. So there was this epidemic that was spreading. It was spreading very quickly, and by his estimation that there would be thousands of people that would be infected with this disease in a very short time, and it would eventually destroy all of the Nome, Alaska, if something wasn't done. You've probably heard about the Iditarod. Every year they reenact this, if you would, and they traveled. Basically what they did is they made a race. They called it the Race of Mercy. The Race of Mercy. And it was, these men carrying this antitoxin on dog sleds, going across some of the worst terrain and some of the most unbelievable temperatures, way below freezing, going across rugged, not just very rough territory, all right, wilderness, if you would, and carrying this diphtheria antitoxin. So the stories that you can go into, you can read it and read about it, but I'll tell you the stories were amazing. Some of those men suffered frostbite, some of them lost fingers and toes because of what they was trying to do. They paid a price to do what they were doing, but it was in order to save somebody. Well, let me tell you what, I think bus ministry is like the great race of mercy. Because sin is infecting our community at a rapid pace. And there are people that are dying in their sin. They're lost without God. And if we don't realize the great need that we have around us, amen, that is presented to us on an everyday basis, tell you what, we've got to do something. We've got to do something. And so we are in a race of mercy, if you would, to take the mercy of God and the grace of God to the people in Granite City and in the surrounding communities of Granite City. Amen. To reach people for Christ. And if we can reach one, if we can save one, it makes it all worthwhile. It makes it worthwhile. We have, I'm just asking today, okay, so it looks like Bethel Chapel has been doing bus ministry for 45 years. 45 years doing bus ministry. That's going back to 1973 when the bus ministry was started with one bus, and a bus captain working to bring in children. Eventually it grew to 3 buses, and then just since we've been here to the 4th bus, and trying to spread out and reach more of our community. I've tried to collect names of bus captains and people that have worked in the buses over the years. I've come up with 31 names so far of bus captains that have worked over those 45 years. And I just want to name them. If you're here tonight and I missed your name, would you please let me know? Would you please let me know? And if you're here tonight and I call your name, I would like for you to come and I'd like you to stand in front of the church, all right? One of the first bus captains was Yvonne White. Melba Vernon was one of the very first bus captains. Thelma Hoxie. Sister Hoxie, if somebody would, why don't you come on up here. If you need to, Sister Hoxie, you can sit down if you'd like. Wilma Brim was a bus captain. Laurie Jackson was a bus captain. Ann Slaughter. Come on up, Sister Slaughter. Norma Miller. Janet Blackwell. Larry Blackwell. Jerome Johnson. Patricia Heath. Pat Heath. Jeff Ray. Sandy Mifflin. Pat Crater, Bill Brim, Roxy Brim, Dennis Heath, go figure. I want to make sure I'm not repeating any of these, okay? Not. Dennis Johnson, Cindy Johnson, Catherine Cox, was bus captain. Victoria Haney, Lisa Whitaker, Bobby Dykeman, Justin Smith, Bonnie Bontrager, Jonathan Rich, Logan Whitaker, Caleb Bontrager, Barbara Dykeman, Ina McCoy. That's the list that I have of the bus captains that I was able to collect. Is there any other bus captains that are here tonight that I missed your name, that you served as a bus captain here at Bethel Chapel? Yeah, weren't you on the list? Brother Boyce, come on up. You should have been on that list. Sorry, we put. Anybody else?
Awesome.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes, it is.
Standing here for just a moment, if they would, and you could be seated. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for doing that. And these bus captains, being a bus captain is not just claiming a title and riding a bus on a Sunday morning. But being a bus captain is much more than that. Bus captain, you go out on Saturday or Friday night or Saturday, and you're knocking on doors, and every week you need to knock on new doors, because if you know anything about bus ministry, there's always transition. Always transition. You got to keep your bus, to maintain your bus and to have it grow, you're going to have to knock on new doors every week, and a number of new doors. And so they go out and knock. They do that. I'll tell you what, through the weather, through the winter months when it's super cold, through the summer months when it's extremely hot, they're out knocking on doors, all right? Putting door knockers on doors, knocking on doors, sometimes being able to witness to people, sometimes even getting invited into the home, sitting down in the living room and talking to them about the Lord, standing at the fence out front, talking to them about the Lord. I mean, what a privilege and what an honor it is for them to have that, to be able to talk to people about God. Amen. The Bible tells us that they that win souls is wise, and I believe that God has a special reward for those that will get out and go. I believe there's a great percentage of people in the churches today that just don't have the desire to knock on a door.
Right.
Knock on a door. People say bus ministry don't work anymore. I disagree completely. I disagree, all right? And I believe that Bethel Chapel is a testament to the fact that bus ministry does still work. It does still work. And they do it, they drive at their own expense, money for gas every week on a bus route, driving, crisscrossing the town and knocking on those doors. And so they deserve to be recognized. They deserve to be recognized. But while they're standing here today, I also want to recognize Brother Bill Brim. Brother Bill Brim, yes, would you give bus ministry back when it in its infancy, and not his infancy, but it was bus but in its early years, and working in the bus ministry. He became the bus director and has served in the capacity of bus director for numerous years. And I don't know, Brother Phil, do you have an idea of how many years he was as bus director? about 40 years out of the 45 as bus director. Amen. Isn't that amazing that,
Yes, it
you know,
is.
and that task, that burden, and making sure the buses are staffed and making sure that there's inspections that are done, making sure that they're all repairs are made and that they're roadworthy, and making sure that there's snacks in the morning and candy in the afternoon, and all that he does, filling in. And besides being bus director for many of those years, he was a bus captain as well. He served as bus driver many times, and so Brother Bill Grimm, we want to show our appreciation to Brother Bill. I want you to come up here, Brother Bill, now. All right, yes. Come on up, Brother Bill. And I want to present this to Brother Bill, show him our appreciation for all those 40 years.
Well, I've always loved Bethel Chapel, and I've always told them that I think that the best people in Bethel Chapel are bus workers. I still feel that. They made it easy, you know, because they're all so dedicated, so committed. They all made an effort to serve the Lord themselves and be an example themselves, and to build their own ministry with the families and with the children. And that's the reason why our bus ministry worked, is because of the faithfulness of the people. Because nobody gets paid. You have to love it. You have to see the vision for it, and you have to have the burden for it. And these people have. And it's been a long time, a lot of good experiences. And I've enjoyed it. And I've always thought that it was a special privilege to be a bus captain. And, unless you've done it, you really don't understand that. But it's really that way. And so I'd like to see the bus ministry go on for years and years and just expand and do better. And we have a great new bus director. I'm looking forward to seeing him accomplish great heights.
Amen. That's in the building. If you have worked on a bus, I've worked on it with wrenches and stuff, but if you've worked on a bus and rode a bus and bus ministry, I want you to stand. If you've worked at a Bethel Chapel bus ministry in any capacity, door boy, rider, okay, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. Is that not amazing?
Yeah.
Amen. You can be seated, bus captains. Thank you. That's why I always say, Bethel Chapel, we do bus ministry. We do bus ministry. It's not just, you can look, it takes the whole church working together, amen, to make bus ministry effective and make it work. And it is very, very effective. Very effective. We've got a video presentation of our bus ministry that we're going to show here in just a second. And Sister Ruth, wait just a second. I want you to come up here. This.
Boy wanted Brother Michael to testify. He got saved.
Okay. All right. We'll do that.
I want to give a little testimony. I went on bus route with Tricia when I was about 12 or so, 13, 12, something like that. Every Saturday I went with Tricia, and it was great because she would feed me a lot. But I remember one day we got in the car, and I looked down, and the car was completely empty of gas. And of course, I was a kid. I didn't have a purse. And Tricia turned on, and she looked, and she said, "Oh no." She said, "We're almost out of gas." And I said, "Well, Tricia, let's go get some gas." She said, "Ruth, I don't have no money." And I said, "Well, Tricia, I don't have no money either. Let's go get some money." She said, "No, Ruthie, we're going to pray right now." And she grabbed my hand, and I'm thinking, "Oh, Lord." I mean, we were going to Patrick Homes and stuff, you know? That's where we went. And I'm telling our entire bus route below empty. And God provided, and we never got stopped on the side of the road. That whole route, it gave me a whole new experience of faith just as a kid. But then she just trusted the Lord that I'm doing His work, He's going to provide. So, praise God.
The song that's on the video presentation, the one that you wrote, what took you so long to tell about the song?
When we were in Ohio, we really felt like it was time that we start outreach program. And I just could not get anyone to do it. I tried, to get different ones, and just nobody would do it. And I said, okay, then I'm going to do it. Nobody else will. So I stood up and told the church, I said, I'm going to go out Saturday. If anybody will go with me. Well, Sister Heath, Sister Becky Heath, they were missionaries to Africa at one time. And she's the only person that showed up. And she's like, Sister Brim, I've been on the other field, but I've never done this. I don't know what we're doing, but I'm here. So here's Short Me and Sister Becky. So here we go out on bus route. But we had not been, we'd never done it. So we get out, we knock on doors, and we, had people promise to come to church the next day. First time we ever went out. Had kids say they would come. And so the next morning I was nervous. I got my kids ready early, tried to get them to the church, have a teenager watch my kids. We got on the van and we started down the road. We were 2 blocks from the church. And as we were driving down the road, there was these little girls and they had their little coats on.
I know.
And they just started jumping up and down and waving their hands like this. Like we were gonna pass them by, We were gonna forget them. And they were just jumping and waving and hurry, come here, get me. And so we pull up to them and I open the door and here they come running up and the little girl looks at me and she put her hand on her hips like this on her side and she said, what took you so long? And they got on the bus and as soon as I sat down on that van, the Holy Ghost smoked my heart. We had been in that building, I don't remember, 2 years or so. We had been in that building. They were 2 blocks from our church and I had never invited them. And I sat down in that seat and that little girl's words, what took you so long? What took you so long? What took you so long? And that's where this song came from. And those children, as far as I know, are serving the Lord today.
Praise the Lord. Praise God. So that being said, in this presentation, I hope it moves you like it moved me when I first saw it. Okay, the first time I saw it. And but you're going to see some pictures of bus captains, people that worked on the bus. You'll see pictures of a lot of different ones that participated in the bus ministry in some form, some fashion. Then you're also going to see some pictures of some bus riders, some people that are in our church because of bus ministry today, part of our church, people that got saved through bus ministry. And then you're going to see also some of our kids, that 3 of them that are in Bible school today, that are a product of bus ministry, and you're going to see them in their progression through their years. It'll be quick, so you have to watch, all right, but the progression through the years of being on the bus ministry. So just so you have a little insight there, what to catch, all right?
looking up and down along the roadside. As we pulled down the lane, they smiled and they waved, their little ponytails dancing as they jumped in place. And as I opened the door to help her climb took you so long? We thought you'd never come. People pass by one by one. What took you so long? What took you so long? So much time has come and gone. We thought you'd never come. What took you so long? As the day went on, the words echoed in my ears. I could hear Jesus speaking. His words were so clear. You are the salt of the earth and the light of the world. The commission is go ye to all preach my word. You know the harvest is ripe and the labors are few. Who will tell them the gospel? Who will take them the truth? And as I stood there in shame, as tears filled my eyes, I could hear lost souls as they cried. What took you so long? We thought you'd never come. People pass by one by one. What took you so long? What took you so long? So much time has come and gone. We thought you'd never come. What took you so long? Time is so short. Christ's coming is near. He that has an ear, let him hear. What took you so long? We thought you'd never come. People pass by one by one. What took you so long? What took you so long? So much time has come and gone. We thought you'd never come. What took you so long? So much time has come and gone. Church, what took you so
Praise God. Brother Michael, they want you to testify. Michael is a product of bus ministry, if you would, and from out of Brother Randy Snow's church in Denton, Texas. Now he's working in teen church for us and does such a wonderful job relating to the young people, and is very effective. Brother Michael, stand for us, brother.
Hello, the Lord. And back in 1998, I was living in a little town called Salina, Texas, and I became real good friends with my next door neighbor, and his dad would take us to the Church of Christ there in town, me and my sister. And long story short, my stepfather had actually passed away, and we moved. And we moved to a little town called Denton. It was little back then, Jonathan. And just minding my own business. One Saturday morning, I was sitting on the couch watching cartoons, and rewind a couple of days. That Wednesday night prior, a pipe had busted at Faith Tabernacle, and the church was flooding. And they had to call the city of Denton in, and there was a man that showed up, come and fixed it all. And he went to Brother Snow afterwards and told him everything was fixed, and he said, "Before I leave, I want to let you know, I know a family that moved to Denton not long ago, and they actually live right next door to your church. And I bet if you go over there and knock on the door, him and his sister will come to church." And it was that man that I lived next door to for all those years. And so Brother Snow and Caleb and Ashley came over to my house. And I had a probably 175-pound Rottweiler in the front yard, and it didn't faze Caleb one bit. He jumped over the fence, walked right up to my door, knocked on my door, and I opened it up, and he said, "My name's Caleb. Would you like to come to church with me on Sunday?" And you know, I've told that testimony so many times. Many of you here that have heard it a bajillion times, but there's a couple of things that stand out to me out of my whole experience. You know, I'm a first-generation Pentecostal. Nobody forced me to come to church. My mom never stopped me because she knew that something was happening to me, and I was being good, and I was different, and, you know, I had my moments. But, you know, whenever I was growing up, I was riding the bus, and you know what, Brother Brim, for years, till I was 16, I rode the bus, and I was the only one that rode the bus that whole time. And even though I lived next door to the church, they would always come get me. Every Sunday morning, every Sunday night, every Wednesday night, every Friday night, they would come pick me up and they would bring me to church. And I became in love with church. I became in love with what was happening in my life and what the Lord was doing in my life. And whenever I first started, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't understand it. I didn't get it, but I knew I wanted it. And fast forward to my teenage years, I think it was 2004 or 2005, I have it wrote down in one of my Bibles. You were preaching Camp Penile. You were preaching the night services, and Brother Dennis Heath was preaching the mornings. And I remember on a Wednesday or Thursday night, you preached the message, and you brought all these milk crates in the tabernacle. Open-air tabernacle. You haven't had church until you had church in the middle of July in an open-air tabernacle. All right? And Brother Brim brought all these milk crates in. And he began to stack them up, and he was talking about things. I remember this service. If I don't remember another service in my life, Brother Brim, I will never forget this service you preached. And you began to line the milk crates up, and you were talking about things that get between you and God. And you had Brother Dennis Heath. He was standing there representing God. And he said you kept talking about how you let a little bit of stuff get in your life, but you think it's okay because you can still see God, you can still feel God. He's still there. He's still in your life, and you begin to build the things up higher where ultimately all you could do is just feel God. You couldn't really see Him anymore. You knew He was there, but you weren't getting anything. And I remember that night, Brother Brim, I was sitting in the pew, and I was the first one to the altar. I remember I ran down there, and I remember I grabbed 2 of them milk crates, and I just took them and I just threw them as far as I could out of that tabernacle. And that night, the Lord filled a bus kid with the Holy Ghost for the first time. A bus kid that didn't have the money to come Brother Jonathan was there. We were at Briarwood, and it was all of our youth group. And I went, and I remember the Lord was calling me to the youth ministry. And I knew that's exactly what He wanted me to do, but I wanted Him to, you know, you ever just want God to just be specific with you? Like, okay, I understand that's what you want, but what exactly do you want me to do in the bus, or in the youth ministry? And I remember He spoke to me that night, and I stood up and I told the church, and I told the young people, I said, God specifically told me tonight that He wanted me to work with bus kids. Bus teens. I had no idea, Brother Brim. I had no idea that He was going to put me in the place that I am now. And I'm not bragging, I'm not boasting or anything. I'm just saying what God told me whenever I was 14 years old. He said, you're going to work with bus kids. You're going to have an opportunity to tell bus kids exactly what you went through. All the trials, all the temptation, all the peer pressure, all the heartache, all the pain of going home and your mom and your dad, you know, not wanting to know what you learned at Sunday school, not understanding what you've been through, you know, not caring about what's going on at school or anything like that. When God was the only one that knew what I was going through. They didn't want to know anything.
Right.
You know, it was hard. Nobody in my family they never wanted to come to church. I remember I prayed and I prayed and I prayed for the Lord to save my family. And it's so amazing, Brother Brent, how the Lord has tied Bethel Chapel into my childhood. Because there was one opportunity that my mom got to come and to pray at an altar. My mom was a nurse at Denton Regional Medical Center, and there was a lady there. She was battling cancer, and she was there in the room, and my mom was her nurse. And this lady was so persistent in talking to my mom about the Lord, and just kind of, you know, just letting her know what Jesus had done in her life and what He could do in hers. And my mom said, well, yeah, I understand. I got a son that goes to church. Oh, what church does your son go to? Well, he goes to Faith Tabernacle. She said, I go to Faith Tabernacle. And it was Brother Jamin Martin's aunt there. And she got my mom to come to church one time. It's the only time my mom's ever came. And I remember I was in children's church as a little kid. I was in children's church, and I remember Sister Jill coming and grabbing me with tears running down her face. She said, Michael, you've got to come. You got to come. Your mom, she's praying. She's praying, and you don't want to miss it. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. She's going to get it this morning. And I remember I walked in there, and my mom, she was crying, just weeping all over the altar, sitting right in her pocket, makeup running down her face. And you know what? There was a loving church around. They didn't care what she looked like. They didn't care what she smelled like. They didn't care about any of that. But it all started with somebody knocking on my door. And I'm thankful that the Lord placed me here. I'm thankful that the Lord called me to Bible school, and He gave me an opportunity to stand. And now I have a family that I can raise in the house of God. And I'm here, and I'm fulfilling what the Lord wanted me to do. And I have the opportunity. We had 35 in teen church on Sunday morning. You know, a lot of those are youth kids here. And you know what? I appreciate our youth being back there, because they are a major influence on the teenagers that we bring in on the bus. They are a major influence, and I can't thank them enough, because they're watching them. You know? I remember, I'll say this and then I'll sit down. I'm taking a lot of time. But I remember I was out playing basketball one time in front of our church, and I had a pair of shorts on and a cut-off shirt. And I was playing basketball there, and Caleb and Josh were playing, and they were in their jeans and their long-sleeve t-shirts. And I was sweating. I was sweating bad. And I looked over at them and I said, how in the world can you guys do that? And do what? And I said, how can you play basketball in the middle of the summer in jeans and a long-sleeve t-shirt? I said, aren't you guys dying? And I remember Caleb looked at me with the straightest face, and he came over and he put his arm on my shoulder and he said, Michael, he said, the reason we do that, the reason we dress the way we do, and the way we act the way we act, and the reason we present ourselves that way is because that's exactly what God wants us to do. And whenever we got down and we prayed, He told us That's what he wanted us to do. And I remember, man, that smote my heart. I couldn't get home fast enough, Brother Brim, because I felt shame. I felt conviction, And I'm thankful for the bus ministry because I would not be here today if it wasn't for it. And a lot of people would say that, oh, well, they ran the bus for how many years and you were the only one? Well, that was a failure. What a waste of money. Let me tell you something. If you could get one kid, Brother Armstrong, if you could get one kid, if you just take one kid home and bring them to church every Sunday night, Wednesday night, whatever it is, it's worth every single penny. It's worth every bit of sweat, blood, tears, whatever you have to do. It's worth every bit of it because you have no idea where they're going to be. We have five kids at OVI this year, and every one of them were a product of the bus ministry. Let that sit.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Let's give the Lord praise for that. Thank you, Jesus. God, we love you, Lord. I thank you for your word. God, I thank you for the word, Lord Jesus. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Thank you, God. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praise God. Praise the Lord. Amen. You can tell we're passionate about bus ministry. And I appreciate Bethel Chapel's acceptance of bus ministry and the way you work with people. Brother Michael talked about, just bringing people in just like they are. Just like they are. I mean, just bringing them in and accepting and loving them. And just not expecting, just loving them. They don't have to do anything to earn the love of God. Man, God loves them just like they are, and they don't have to do anything to earn our love either. Amen. We can love them, and I appreciate the way you love those children. You treat them well, and you're always kind to our bus families, even the adults that ride the bus. You're always kind to them, and go out of your way to show them love and compassion. And I appreciate that, Bethel Chapel. I appreciate it very much. And I know you're passionate about bus ministry, just like we are.
Praise God.
I don't want to take any more time. We could go, if we wanted to, in Bethel Chapel, we could talk all night about bus ministry right here. We could, but we want to hear Brother Dennis preach to us. I appreciate Brother Dennis. He's a product of Bethel Chapel, and his heritage is here, his family is here, and has helped the church many times through the years, and it's just a privilege and honor to have Brother Dennis Heath with us. I want him to come and preach to you. Amen. Brother, it's good to have the Burnett's with us from now and again. Man, what a surprise to see you all come in. Love you and love them so much.
Yeah. Praise God. Hallelujah.
Well, anybody ever heard of Apostle Herman Murray? I preached a few meetings with him, and he's become acquaintance of mine. We've fellowshiped a few times together, sitting around the table talking and eating. We were preaching a meeting together one time, and one of the evangelists from his church got up to testify. And he said it this way. He said, "I am hippopotamus happy and Ziploc glad to be here." Now, I'm not for sure what a hippopotamus happy is. It sounds like a whole lot happy. Ziploc glad seems pretty fresh. But I'm glad to be here tonight. It's a great honor and privilege to be here for this grand occasion. It's wonderful what you're doing in celebrating this centennial milestone. It's wonderful what you're doing, but it's wonderful because of what you have been doing. The reason why we're celebrating this is because of what has been on right here at 25th and Ohio it didn't start here, but it's been here for many years now. And I certainly appreciate being here. I appreciate Brother Brim asking us to come. And last night, I'm going to try not to cry too much. Because I got pretty sentimental last night as I sat here and watched some of these elders come up here. And what a flood of memories has come to mind. It's come to mind. I sat here and thought about different things here. Of course, the campground has been such a vital part too of the ministry of this church. And I remember the first time I ever knew what it really meant to be saved and get your heart clean from sin. I was sitting somewhere over here. I was 4 years old. And Sister Brenda Gallagher was up here with all these cleaning concoctions. And she was about to ingest them, trying to get her heart clean. And Brother Dwayne was explaining to her that that's not how you get your heart clean. It's only the blood of Jesus that does that. I remember that. I remember at 5 years old, Steve Gallagher preached that night. He was my hero. And he was leaving or something. I'm 5 years old, I don't remember, but I got tore up about the fact that my hero was leaving. And I was sitting over here in a pew and I was crying about it. And Sister Arlene Brim saw me. Stopped by and said, "What's wrong?" She said, "Would you like to pray?" I remember the first time that I ever prayed about being saved was Sister Arlene Brim. Boy, there's so many things I'd like to say. Brother Gallagher introduced my mom and dad. My dad was going to church here. Just so you know, Brother Gallagher has been a lot of places I said that, so I said he's directly responsible for me. Brother Gallagher was here the first 7 years of my life. Those formative years, and 7 years, I don't remember the Gallagher years as vivid as some of you do, but I do remember the stomping and the preaching to the ceiling. And lift your hands and praise the Lord! Remember all that. Brother Bill came, and my dad died when I was in 1998, 10 years old. And Craig Astor was the youth pastor then. And Brother Bill was out of town. And Sister Bill and Brother Craig was the one that came and was there with us when we came back to the house. And then little Bill got back just as fast as he could. And one thing I remember about this, and it's never left me, I remember my church family as a 10-year-old boy flooding our house. You couldn't put a grocery bag anywhere in that house. You couldn't hardly walk through it. There were so many people there at the house that night, and I knew then that I had a family. Amen. Church family. My phone's ringing up here. I'm trying to figure out where it's at. One of the church members, praise God. You bored with this? I need to hurry. It's getting close to 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock curfew on the Holy Ghost here. Brother Bill was such a tremendous influence in my life. He called me his Timothy. He was a mentor. I think I disappointed him when I went to Bible school for a year. He wanted to stay here with him. But I remember the times he'd call my mom, "You got anything for Dennis to do tomorrow?" "No, I'll be by in the morning." And I knew at an early age what cramped ground meant. I spent much of my teenage years on campground. I remember one time we were putting the electric, Brother Raven, we were putting all the electric into the cabin so we could put air conditioning. I remember on that, I think it was in the front row in the end, Brother George, where me and Brother George spent about 8 hours on a little 8-foot trench because it was going right beside a tree. And I don't know if that tree ever survived it or not. I remember one time back before when we were smart enough to mulch all the leaves up, with the mower and stuff, and Brother Bill, we got to rake all those leaves up. I remember one time we had a pile of the whole thing was on the platform. It seemed like 3 or 4 foot tall, and we set that thing on fire, and Brother Bill realized that we set it too close to the old kitchen out there, and melted the siding off the side. some leaves back there that caught an electrical pole on fire. Problem was, there wasn't no water on it, Uncle Larry. We didn't have no water. And I had to run to the ditch over there and get a bucket of water and try to put the electrical pole out. I remember that. I remember the day that we were standing there and all of us teenage boys were out there. And Brother Bill was bragging to my Uncle Larry about how good we'd been working, and Mike Slotta and Kevin Miller was up on the old tabernacle roof painting that top part and spilled the white paint on the green roof. Trying to make good on what they'd done, they painted a cross with that white paint. Brother Bill was bragging on them. He said, boy, these boys have been working hard. And Brother Larry said, oh, look out, Brother Bill. Brother Bill went from bragging on them, turned around and said, what are you boys doing out there? I remember when I got saved on the steps, piano side, as a 9-year-old boy out there. I remember getting baptized in the baptistry. I got a lot of heritage around here, so it's just like all you do. But since I'm over here one talking, I get to tell it, all right? That's the Lord. I remember when I got old enough to drive, Brother Bill, he had a way of giving me. At one time, Brother Blue, and I'm not bragging, but at one time I was a Sunday school teacher too, I was a church worker. I was over the nursing home ministry. That was just on Sunday. I was in charge of all the weeding, cleaning the sand filters. You talk about, hey, young preachers, that's how you really get started in the ministry right there. The sand filters at the campground. That was my first official maintenance job on the campground. And then I graduated to the trimming, the weeding and mowing. Of course, Rob Eder was my best friend, so he got promoted to that job as well. Well, I tell you what, a lot of things went on. I remember when I got my license, Brother Bill entrusted me with the key to the church, and he entrusted me with the key to the tabernacle at the campground. A lot of the reason why I am where I'm at today is not because I'm anything but the grace of God. And I remember Sunday after Sunday after Sunday, after I got done eating things, I'd come over here, Brother David. I'm partly responsible for wearing that carpet out. Because I'd spend on my Sunday afternoons a lot of time walking and praying and singing. I wish I could tell you some of the things God did for me right here. I'd go to the campground, dream about being a youth camp preacher someday. I didn't know what I was asking for. God was speaking to my heart. And I remember my first Sunday school teacher that I remember, Sister Heath. I remember the first time riding the buses with Brother Slotta. You didn't come up here, Brother Slotta. He was a bus captain too. And I was 12 years old. I saw a picture up there. That might have been close to one of the first Sundays I rode out there. Because I worked with Kevin Miller. The very first Sunday, my birthday's in February, and I remember getting on the bus, freezing. Walking down through a trailer court over here, close to where my Uncle Larry and Aunt Trish lived. Snow on the ground, walking down that alleyway. I realized that was a big mud hole that snow had piled up on top of it. Stepped through it and went into my head deep in my, had a frozen foot the rest of the Sunday. I don't know if I wanted to be a bus minister or not. One more thing and I'll quit, but I remember Jeff Ray having the door open, going down Namioke, hitting a water puddle. I don't think that lady would ever come to church at Bethel. Back in the bus, come follow us. I remember saying, go, go, go. A lot of great things. remodeled the first time. We did it. I can't believe you got rid of the green wall. But it looks beautiful. Some attributes of a strong church I thought about. I'm going to take a text and preach, and I'm not going to preach on it. Hopefully I'm not lying. Five attributes, well, not five attributes, but a few attributes I thought of a strong church. But Dwayne, it's good to see you. Stable leadership. Has to have stable leadership. 100 years, 5 pastors. You're going to have to look long and hard to find a church with that kind of history. That's unheard of. My church that I pastor there in Texarkana has been there 70 years. I think I'm about the 16th pastor. The average lifespan of a pastor of the church that I pastor is 5.5 years. I've been there almost 8. I'm above average. So stable leadership to be a strong church. Strong emphasis on worship and the moving of the Spirit. I learned how to worship right here. I said I learned how to worship. I have examples of worship. I remember Brother Jerry Fuller was a song leader for years around here. How many times would he get up and lead singing, and it would be just exactly what Brother Bell was going to preach about, or the direction Brother Bell was going, because people really were earnest about the way they worshiped here. I remember an accordion. One Sunday night. And Brother Slaughter get to playing that accordion. He got to play Windows of Heaven are open. And I remember the power of God falling in this place, and that's as far as the service went. I remember when Lloyd Sukrat came for revival one time. I remember we went on in revival, and it was Labor Day. Bigger than Christmas. And Brother Bell got up on that Sunday night and said, I feel like we were going to miss God if we don't go on in revival. I know tomorrow's Labor Day. I do remember that some folks that fussed about it. We cut off the Labor Day picnic at 5 o'clock, and I remember Brother Bell walking in his pulpit that night, reading some scripture, saying, raise your hands, let's worship the Lord. And 2 hours later, we got done shouting. I hope this don't offend nobody, but I've seen people get in and shout that night that I've never seen shout before or since. A lot of them aren't even saved now. God filled in this place that night. I remember stuff like that. Stable leadership, strong emphasis on worship, a sturdy emphasis on a separated life. That's always been part of Bethel Chapel's heritage. A strong emphasis on a separated life. A steady effort of evangelism. That's been well covered tonight. Now, I'm glad to be here on this night when you're talking about bus ministry. Because my wife is a bus kid. When she was 2 years old, Brother Bill, we wouldn't let them come with me when they were 2 years old. I don't remember. But whenever she was 2 years old, somebody stopped by on a Saturday and invited her to church, and Mom said, yeah. So she sent her 7-year-old brother and herself, 2 years old, on the bus ministry. The bus driver that morning was Bill Johnson. Pastored Brother Justin for years there in Bedford, Indiana. Bill Johnson had just got saved, was a new convert, and came that day, and my wife needed help get on the bus, and he got up out of the driver's seat, picked her up, and carried her on to the bus that morning. The first time my wife ever went to church, the first man to ever ask us to preach a revival at our reception, at our wedding. Bill Johnson. So I love bus ministry. I want you to turn to the book of Matthew, chapter number 18. Bus ministry is a wonderful thing. I'm not going to preach about it, but let me just testify about this just for a moment while you're finding Matthew 18. We started a bus ministry when I took the church in Texarkana. And Sister Ruth, it has been a challenge to find people that will just be consistent and faithful with it. We're still running out of one van. Texarkana has 60,000 on the Texas side, 36,000 on the Arkansas side, and a host of little communities like Nash and Wake Village and Pleasant Grove that circle the city. Nobody in my town that I know of is doing bus ministry. It's a wide open field. If anybody felt like doing bus ministry and Brother Brennan didn't need you no more, I hear you easy preaching. I don't want any. But anyway, if I had the funds, the facility, and the faculty, I don't think we'd any problem having 100 bus every Sunday on buses in Texarkana. But we started one. Sister Danielle, little Danielle started coming, Brother Rob, and she was just a little girl then, just a little freckle face, glasses. Her and two brothers started coming. Danielle's one of those that just kept coming and assimilated into the church. Became part of the youth group. Went to youth camp with us. About 3 years ago, she backslid on us. Quit church, broke our hearts. Tore us up. She ended up having a baby out of wedlock, married a young boy. She had the baby back in June. Married the boy in August. Showed up to our church the Tuesday night after our Labor Day fellowship meeting and prayed through. Sunday night after that, Brother Bobby was there preaching for me. She got the baptism of the Holy Ghost. 2 weeks ago in revival, her husband got saved. We got a family. Pews, a product of the bus ministry.
Glory to God. Glory to God.
I had 2 married couples praying 2 Sundays mornings ago. One of them came on the bus. And so I'll tell you, I believe in bus ministry. Matthew 18. Would you do me a favor tonight? Would you stand for the reading of the word of the Lord? Brother Gallagher said he wanted a lot of shouting and hollering and hooting around here tonight. I told him Brother Tim was preaching tomorrow night. I'm going to try my best to preach a little something to you. This is revival. It's almost 9 o'clock. Can y'all church beyond 9 o'clock? And now I got 3 minutes. Hallelujah. All right? So, Matthew chapter 18, verse number 20. I preached this to my church Tuesday night. Not ever dreaming that I would preach it here tonight, but this is what I think the Lord did with me about it. I changed my direction here. So here's what we're going to do. Verse 20, chapter 18, Matthew. For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them. You can be seated. Now usually we hear this text quoted on a midweek service when most of the church is working or on vacation or doing something else, and the pastor, trying to feel better about himself, will say, well, where 2 or 3 are gathered together, I'm in the midst of them. Well, I want to preach on this tonight on when a meager crowd becomes a mega church. When a meager crowd becomes a mega church. Mega church is a term that we've gotten quite familiar with in this generation. They tell me that a mega church officially gains that title when they faithfully have attendance of 2,000 or more. Mega churches. I remember at the ministers' conference one year, Sister Savage walked up to me, Brother Savage right there. Sister Savage said, Brother Dennis, do you believe in mega churches? And I said, well, you know, I believe in the fact that they exist. But about that time, Brother Savage pinched me on the arm. I knew I was done into it then. And I said, you don't really believe in their cause or whatever, you know, anyway. And she said, well, if we are the temple of the Holy Ghost, then Brother Dennis, you're a mega church. Mega church. In our generation, their philosophy is to be the one-stop shop. Kind of like, you know, Walmart. Anybody here associated with Walmart? Hallelujah. Amen. Walmart's philosophy in the retail industry is to be the one-stop shop for everything that you need. And that's really the philosophy that the mega church has taken. You know, a one-stop shop. They've got their bookstore, and they got their coffee shop, and they got their gym, and they got children's departments that when you walk down the hallways, you think you're in some children's museum somewhere. And I remember last year we took our school to a mega church down in Bossier City, Louisiana, about an hour away, because Ken Ham was there, the founder of the Creation Museum and the Ark Encounter. And so we took our young folks down there, and I got talking to the Minister of Finance there at that mega church, and I said, I want to ask you a question. I don't know if you can tell me, but what's your annual budget here? He told me $9 million. Annual budget. Woo! I walked in that children's department, and they had an indoor playground there that it would take 5 or 6 McDonald playgrounds to make up the one they had right there in this huge area. It was amazing. Went to their youth department. They had it was like a gathering place of a college common hall there, where they had lounge chairs and couches and air hockey tables and concession stand and arcade games. It was awesome. Hallelujah. Amen. It's really neat. Amen. I looked at that. When you get to observing that and you walk into their sanctuary and they got blacked out walls and ceiling and they got the big concert stage set up there and they don't have a pulpit. They got a little Bible stand so their folk singer can get up there and sing a little, How many knows it's really not church at all? I said it's really not church at all. It's really nothing more than a religious social center that they go to once or twice a week just to ease their conscience. How many knows the church is supposed to be much more than that? Amen. When I'm talking about this mega church, that the corporate America has so infiltrated into the church world that now these mega churches operate, even other churches. And I realize that we got to be good stewards. And there's things that I'm not preaching against all this, but when you run an operation like Bethel Chapel, you do have to have some business savvy about you because of all the laws and taxes and insurance and all of that now. But the fact of the matter is, I don't believe God ever intended for the church to be run like a corporation. Oh, come on now. How many knows what I'm talking about? Amen. But in corporate America, it's all about the bottom line. How many knows that's the way it is in these mega churches and where it's all about numbers and success-driven philosophy where it's all about nickels and noses and not really about conversion and deliverance and real salvation. I'm not hurting you yet, am I? Amen. Well, how many knows that Jesus was really never concerned about numbers? You read the ministry of Jesus and it may be 5,000 men plus women and children. They estimate possibly as many as 20,000 that he fed with 5 loaves and 2 fishes. But he also was known to stop by Samaria when it was just one woman. Amen. Sitting at the well. Amen. That he ministered to. So numbers had no effect on Christ. And I want you to notice the context of our reading. I really need to hurry here, but when you look at the context of Matthew 18 and verse 20, you go up into verse number 15, I believe it is, and Jesus is dealing with a subject that is very uncommon in our generation. He's dealing with church discipline.
Yeah.
Church discipline, where if one was offended by another, they would get together, and if they couldn't settle it between the two, then they would get 2 or 3 witnesses, and they would try to work it out there. And if that didn't work, then they took it before the whole church. And if he still wouldn't listen to what was being said, then Jesus said, just mark him as a heathen or a pagan. You basically excommunicate him. Well, we ain't got the stomach for that in 2018, do we? Oh, that's that. But then he follows up that line of thought, and the very next verse he says this: verily I say to you, whatsoever ye shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever ye shall loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Well, that's not the first time he said that. For you go back into chapter number 16 and you read where Jesus says there, amen, in verse 19, amen, right after he looks at Peter and says, upon this rock I'll build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail. And I'm going to give you the keys of the kingdom, and whatsoever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Whatsoever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Oh, I tell you, amen. So the context of that, whether it was in church conquering or whether it was in church correcting, amen, He says that again, I say unto you that if two of you shall agree on earth, oh, hallelujah, as touching anything they shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father which is in heaven. If any two of you shall agree together, that word agree, Adam Clark says it means to symphonize or harmonize. It is a metaphor taken from a number of musical instruments set to the same key and playing the same tune. Here it seems, or it means a perfect agreement of the heart's desires, wishes, and voices of two or more people praying to God. Woo, hallelujah. Amen. When I read this, Brother Blue, in my office Tuesday afternoon, I thought I was going to shout right there. Amen. Do you realize the promise that God has given to us and His people if we can come together, just two of us, and agree? If we can get a complete, perfect unity among us, amen, as touching any one thing, it shall, not it might, not maybe, could be, hope it is. He said it shall be done. I'm convinced in 2018 that we as God's church are living well beneath our privilege and what God intended for us. When you read this scripture, oh, listen to me now. He gets to my text, and again, there's a numerical value here that he uses, and he says, where two or three of you, amen, in verse 18, amen, actually in verse 17, I believe it is, amen, two or three witnesses. Then again, if any two of you, and then he says, if two or three are gathered together, seems like to me there's a theme working through those verses. And I want to show it to you in verse number 20. I want to break this verse down. First, I want you to notice the people he talks about. Two or three. Amen. How many knows here on this 100-year celebration of Bethel Chapel that if we're going to continue to be the people God wants us to be, there's going to have to be unity among the laity. Oh, the Holy Ghost tonight. Amen. If any two or three of you, amen, two or three, amen, not a host. Amen. I said he's not talking about a host of people. The fact He's a homeless man through and through. He's tighter than I am. He said this, he said, well, no, I didn't. He said, but I didn't go looking for it. He said, because I went wanting to hear from God, hear the good preaching, feel the good presence of God, and let God have His way. Oh, I'm amazed at people that come to church that's sold up in a service. Well, my favorite preacher's not preaching. Well, if your pastor is, guess what? Your favorite preacher is. Hallelujah. I was driving my young folks to a youth retreat a couple weeks ago, and I got talking to them. I said, who's the top 5 on your list of preachers? That's the young man right there. And they all said, well, the pastor. I said, good answer. Hallelujah. Good answer. Praise God. Amen. Oh, yeah. If my favorite singer ain't singing, I'm not going to get in. I've been to campings before when people, the Lord got the moving and the power of God got the falling, and Joey I didn't get to preach. Or Randy Webb didn't get to preach. Or whoever your favorite preacher didn't get to preach. And they walked out all huffed up and mad because I didn't come just to watch a bunch of shouting. I came to hear the preacher. Well, bless your carnal heart. If you pray good through good, real good, and realize that the preacher's not the main event. Amen. But the Holy Ghost is. We might have a Bible. I said, if you recognize that it's not about the singer, and it's not about the preacher, and it's not about who's there, who's not there. Amen. The decision you liked or the decision you didn't like, and recognize this is God's house. I say it's God's house. It's not your house. It's not my house. But I want my agenda to stay at the door so that God's agenda can rule and reign in this house tonight. Oh, hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah. Every service. Do you realize, I got to hurry, I'm just going to church point. Do you realize they had a business meeting in Acts chapter 1? And they even had a church though? In Acts chapter 1. And then they had Pentecost in Acts chapter 2. I'll tell you why they did. It's because they all were there. Because Jesus had said, tarry in Jerusalem until, could you turn these monitors up for me, brother? Tarry until you're endued with power from on high. They all had the same agenda. They were all there for the same reason. And I wouldn't have to preach another point of this message tonight if we would want to all recognize that it's not about any other thing tonight than us having a move of God and seeing revival break out that will carry us another 100 years. Oh, hallelujah. Hallelujah. The people, 2 or 3, the place, gathered together. Where are we gathered tonight? We're gathered in Bethel's house. I can't go back to Dewey Street or Dewey Avenue, whatever it is. I wasn't born then. I wasn't even born when this was built. I do remember that sign out there says 82 for this new edition. I do remember this being worked on. I do remember that. Yeah, I was 4 years old when it started. I remember remodel this. I remember red carpet. I remember VCT tile underneath the pews. And when my Matchbox car would hit the floor, you could hear it go zoom across the floor. I do remember that. Hallelujah. I do remember a river mural that is unknown. Hallelujah. I do remember that. I do remember no padded pews. I do remember remodeling this thing. I remember standing there in the middle, the scaffold up, and Scott Lamont is walking in with her 2 little bitty twin baby boys. And Scott getting about as far as me as I am from Boyce Bell and throwing one of those rascals at me. And I seen Brother Bell just about over the tabernacle. I remember stuff like that. We're at Bethel Chapel. A lot of things have changed around here. I remember curtains. I remember Brother Whitaker shouting over here one time off the drums and breaking that window out over there. I remember stuff like that. Where you at? He's not here tonight. Oh, he had to work. Good thing. Don't tell him. We're at Bethel Chapel. I said we're at Bethel Chapel. A lot of things have changed. I see Rhonda and one Ronnie and one Gibson back there. I remember 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're spread out a little more than they were when we were teenagers. We had to sit on the first 7 pews. And I remember number 8 was Brother Ronnie and Sister Wanda. Brother Tim, who was on the end. I said, I should spread out! And boy, Gibson, and then all the other heathens down that road. I remember all that. Things have changed. I had too much fun. Hallelujah. Amen. Things have changed, but we're still in the same place. I said we're still in the same place. We're still in the same building. And I got this for you. Amen. He's still the same God. And he's still the same Holy Ghost. And the God that fell on me right here when I had a crutch laying here and a cast on this foot. Amen. And hit me right here and shot at that foot. And I danced across here healed by the power of God. That same Holy Ghost is ready to go out here tonight. And if we can get 2 or 3 gathered together, amen, in the house of God, that's where we're at. And listen, you ought to be faithful to God's house. Now, I preach this in my church, I'm middle right here. And I ain't going to do that tonight because I ain't got time. Amen. But I believe you ought to be faithful to the house of God. I am going to say this. When we lose or lessen our desire for God's house, it is an outward symptom, amen, of losing our devotion to God Himself. I know some people say, I don't need church. I get to heaven without it. They ain't read their Bible. I said they ain't read their Bible. When you lose your desire for God's house, it is a symptom that you have lost your devotion for God. But when you get a right and hot fervency in your heart for God in the face of God, you'll be at church on Wednesday night. You'll be at the church on Lord night.
Praise God.
Saturday night. I'm here to tell you, when you really get faithful. Pray for that thing tomorrow night. Pray for that thing out there tomorrow. Praise God. Amen. I'm telling you. Amen. God, the people. 2 or 3. The place. Gather together. The purpose. In my name. I've done hit on this a little bit, but I'm going to tap on a little bit more. I want to remind us tonight who the main attraction is. It's not your song. It's not your sermon, Bubba. Hallelujah. I remember listening to a charismatic preacher one time. He's having trouble with his monitors. He sounds really good right now. He's having trouble with his monitors. He looked at this sound guy. He said, turn those things up. I am my favorite preacher, and I want to hear myself. He forgot who the main attraction was. I said he forgot who the main attraction was. How many knows that when we come here, I've heard a lot said about Pentecostal worship. I'm telling you right now, I'm afraid that we're losing that in this generation. I got an article right here, I ain't got time to read it. If you really want to know about it, you can come talk about this. It was ran in the Texarkana Gazette, amen, 5 years ago. It's an article, the headline says, fewer Pentecostal congregations are speaking in tongues. That's the headline. Amen. Associated Press article. It was about the Assemblies of God. Amen. That article states that less than 3% of their congregations claim to have an experience in speaking in unknown tongues. You listen to me. I said, you listen to me. Amen. When we got mainline Pentecostal denominations, amen, that are trying to legislate and figure out if they're going to continue, amen, to preach the doctrine, amen, of the baptism of the Holy Ghost with the evidence of speaking in unknown tongues, we're in trouble. Oh, hallelujah. I can tell you about a graduate from one of our Bible schools from several years ago, amen, the pastor somewhere in the United States of America that is no longer holding us in any shape or form or fashion, that got up in his congregation just a few months ago and said this. He said, speaking in tongues in our worship services are not allowed. Amen. If you want to do that, that is for your private prayer time. But you will be given one warning, and after that, you will be asked to leave the church. I'm going to tell you something right now. We're in trouble. Amen. We've got preachers, and I need to be careful here. Amen. That are good hook, line, sinker. Amen. With this Calvinistic leaning doctrine. Amen. They're preaching, amen, not Jesus only, but they're preaching only Jesus. Where you can't say anything about anything else but Jesus. You can't mention any issues. Issues are divisive, and they're telling us, amen, that all you can do is preach Jesus. Now, that puts us in a very difficult position, because it is all about Jesus. But I'm going to tell you something. When you preach Jesus and what he preached, you're going to preach against sin. You're going to preach against the world. You're going to preach hellfire. Amen. Come on now. Amen. If you preach what the apostles of Jesus preached, we wouldn't have 1 Corinthians if they didn't see a need to deal with issues. Amen. you can come help me. The power there in the midst. Reckon what would happen right here in a centennial celebration if he is in the midst of us. I wonder what happened on Thursday night if this congregation could get together in his name. I wonder what kind of power it's on.
Yes, sir.
You ain't got into this yet. Some of you thinking about taking blocks on the way home. And you ain't thinking about the power of God that changes lives. I said the power of God that changes lives. Brother Michael, I loved your testimony, Michael. I remember that night. Don't tell Brother David I said this, but I kind of took that thought on tear down this wall. And I preached on a few campings myself. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Work, brother. Work. Let like all the way. Let like tear down this wall. I like what it said. There's something there that he loved. There's something there that got his attention. Hallelujah. I got a sister in my church that is a property manager. About that now. This is about the time you're supposed to shout if you're going to, right? Praise the Lord. I remember this lady in the church, she's a manager, property manager, about 5 or 6 mobile home parks. Boys, you talking about interesting life. You ought to imagine mobile home park. Woo! Wow! I'll tell you about some of that at church today. It's a wild deal. She got a Mexican man there. Redneck! Deluxe. I'm telling you. Old Jonathan. He's a redneck. He goes to the Church of Christ. Baptist background. Watch Church of Christ. Got married to him. Sister Amber's got another lady in church that manages one of the properties for her. Brother Ben Horton, some of you know him. He helps out there when he's not slaving away at a Christian school. This is hard. Oh, Jonathan, I'll never forget, his father-in-law died. Me and Brother Ben drove an hour and 15 minutes to where the funeral was. He's come for a couple of fundraisers, never been to the church. But he's a nice guy. And we just wanted to know what he's caring about. I'll never forget the look on his face, but when I showed him. He told some of those maintenance men, rough, he's a maintenance manager, rough stuff. And he told them, this one boy, Hunter, needed help. What are you talking to Jonathan? John said, you ain't even talking to the wrong person. He said, you need to go to Sister Amber's church. Wow. They got something for you in God. Hunter and his wife was in my church 2 Sunday mornings ago. On that Sunday morning, I was in the Bible. Brother Michael's house, Brother Bruce's boy. Brother Michael got up to sing. Him and his good wife never got to the preaching. Amen. He got to his soul and said, the Lord's in this place, he can help you. Did you hear what I said? The Lord's in this place. Oh, Hunter and Abby. First time in the Holiness Church. I'm walking down the aisle. Praying. I prayed. Wonderful. Prayed. Next morning, they was in a little ladies meeting, and old Hunter was bouncing off the walls. Finally, I said, man, what are you on this morning? He said, man, I got saved yesterday. He said, you need to go to Miss Amber's church. And Johnson said, see that? I told you. And you know what it was? It wasn't my preaching because I didn't even preach that morning. It wasn't even my evangelist because he didn't preach that morning. It's the fact there's some folks that got together in his name.
Thank you.